She's staring at you right now, but she's not seeing you, she's seeing something else entirely. A ghost, a fantasy, a character she wrote in her mind long before you ever said hello. And Carl Jung, the man who spent decades mapping the darkest corners of the human psyche, he tried to warn you about this. He tried to tell you that what you call love is actually something far more dangerous, something that turns you into a puppet without strings, dancing to music only she can hear. And the most terrifying part, she doesn't even know she's doing it. You think you're special. You think you're different. You think this time, with this woman, it'll be real. But Jung would look at you with those piercing Swiss eyes and say, you're not in a relationship, you're in a psychological theater, and you don't even know you're the actor. But before we dive deeper into this psychological rabbit hole, do me a favor, smash that like button right now, because if this video is already making you uncomfortable, you're exactly where you need to be. Let's go. It starts so innocently, doesn't it? You meet her, she smiles, she laughs at your jokes, she texts you back, and something inside you whispers, finally, someone who gets me. But Jung would interrupt that whisper and ask you a question that cuts like a scalpel. Does she really see you? Or does she see the version of you that fits perfectly into the empty space she's been carrying around since childhood? Jung called this projection. And it's not some abstract theory you learn in psychology class. It's the invisible puppet master controlling almost every romantic interaction you'll ever have. Women, Jung discovered, don't just fall in love with men, they fall in love with the archetype, the idea, the fantasy version they've been constructing in their unconscious mind their entire lives. And you, my friend, you just happen to have the right face, the right voice, the right timing to play that role. For now. Jung spent years studying what he called the animus, the inner masculine image that every woman carries inside her psyche. And when that animus is undeveloped, when it's immature, when it's left unchecked, it becomes something monstrous. It becomes the reason she chases men who treat her like garbage while friend-zoning the guys who would die for her. It becomes the voice in her head that argues without logic, demands without gratitude, and moralizes without ever looking in the mirror. Jung didn't dance around this. He called it a state of possession, like something ancient and primal had taken the wheel, and the woman herself was just a passenger, convinced she was still driving. And here you are, thinking you're building something real, when in reality you're just auditioning for a part in a play she's been rehearsing since she was 6 years old. Most men never figure this out. You spend your whole life thinking the problem is you're not good enough, not tall enough, not rich enough, not interesting enough. So you work harder, you perform better, you become whoever she seems to want you to be. And for a while, it works. She smiles more, she texts faster, she tells her friends you're amazing. But Jung would lean forward and whisper, you're not amazing, you're just convincing. And the moment you stop being convincing, the moment you slip out of character, she'll replace you without even realizing what she's done. And hey, if you're finding this brutally honest content valuable, do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button, because we're about to go deeper, and trust me, your future self will thank you for staying on this journey. Plus, I promise to only manipulate you with psychological insights, not boring sponsorships. Fair deal? But here's where it gets truly dark. When the fantasy collapses, and it always collapses, you'll be left standing there confused, broken, replaying every conversation, every moment, trying to figure out what you did wrong. And the answer Jung would give you is both liberating and devastating. You didn't do anything wrong. You just stopped fitting the invisible mold she never told you existed. You were cast as the hero in her private mythology, and when you revealed yourself to be human, flawed, real, the mythology crumbled. And she didn't reject you. She rejected the failure of her own projection. But she'll never see it that way, because facing that truth, facing the reality that she was in love with an illusion, would require her to do the one thing most people spend their entire lives avoiding. She'd have to face herself. Jung called the path out of this trap individuation, the lifelong, brutal, isolating process of becoming whole within yourself. Not through her eyes, not through her approval, not through her validation, but through the terrifying act of standing alone in the dark and asking yourself, who am I when nobody's watching? Who am I when nobody needs me? Who am I when I'm not performing? And most men, Jung observed, never ask those questions because the answers are too frightening. It's easier to keep chasing women, keep seeking approval, keep playing different roles in different relationships, hoping that one day someone will finally see the real you. But here's the cruel joke. The real you doesn't exist yet, because you've spent so long being whoever you thought you needed to be that you've never stopped to build an actual self. Individuation isn't a weekend workshop. It's not a seminar you attend or a book you read. It's the slow, painful death of every comfortable lie you've told yourself about who you are. It's looking at the weak parts of yourself, the insecure parts, the cowardly parts, and instead of hiding them or justifying them, you integrate them, you own them. You stop pretending you're a hero in someone else's story and start being a human being in your own. And when you do that, something remarkable happens. You stop being controllable. You stop being moldable. You stop volunteering for the role of actor in someone else's psychological drama. Speaking of drama, if you've ever been in a relationship where you felt like you were constantly trying to figure out the right thing to say or do, drop a like on this video. Let me know I'm not alone in this psychological war zone. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you even doing? This is literally the content that could save your sanity. But let me tell you what nobody else will. Individuation is lonely, soul-crushingly lonely. Because as you start to wake up, as you start to see through the games people play, the masks they wear, the lies they live by, you realize something unsettling. Most people don't want the truth. They want comfort. They want validation. They want someone to tell them they're perfect exactly as they are. And when you stop playing that game, when you stop pretending, when you start speaking from a place of actual authenticity, they turn on you. They call you negative. They call you cold. They say you think too much, analyze too much, care too little. But what they really mean is that you stop being useful to their fantasy. You've stopped being the mirror that reflects back what they want to see. Jung knew this pain intimately. He spent years watching patients run from their own shadows, the dark, rejected parts of themselves they refused to acknowledge. And women, he warned, are often culturally conditioned to avoid that confrontation entirely. They're told they're naturally intuitive, emotionally intelligent, pure of heart, and so they never question the voice inside them that speaks with absolute certainty, absolute authority, absolute moral superiority. Jung called that voice the immature animus, and he warned that when a woman doesn't integrate it, doesn't face it, doesn't take responsibility for it, it turns her into a tyrant. She projects that inner masculine force onto every man she meets, demanding that he live up to an impossible standard, then punishing him when he inevitably fails. And you keep thinking you'll be the exception. You keep thinking that if you just love her hard enough, prove yourself thoroughly enough, sacrifice deeply enough, she'll finally see you for who you really are. But that's not how projection works. Projection is a thief. It steals reality and replaces it with hallucination. And until she wakes up from that hallucination, until she does her own work of integration, you're not in a relationship. You're in a performance art piece where the audience keeps changing the script without telling the actors. Here's the part that'll make you uncomfortable. The woman who once called you her soulmate will one day call you her biggest mistake. Not because you betrayed her, not because you lied to her, not because you changed, but because you failed to live up to the invisible character she invented in the theater of her unconscious mind. You were never that character. You were never supposed to be, but she needed you to be. And when you couldn't sustain the illusion, she felt betrayed. Not by you, but by reality itself. And Jung would tell you that this psychological betrayal is inevitable when neither person takes responsibility for their own inner world. You were both just shadows dancing with shadows, calling it love. Real talk though, If this video is opening your eyes to patterns you've been living through, you owe it to yourself to subscribe. We're building a community of people who are done with the lies and ready for the truth, even if that truth stings a little. Okay, a lot. But hey, at least we're honest about it, right? Jung once said, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls." And nowhere is this more obvious than in modern dating. You swipe right, you send messages, you go on dates, you fall in love, you make promises, and through it all, you're not actually connecting with another human being. You're connecting with their projection of you and projecting your own fantasy onto them. Two ghosts having a conversation in the dark, convinced they're touching something real. And when the lights come on, when the masks fall, you're both shocked to discover you were alone the entire time. But here's the question Jung would force you to ask. The question that most men will run from for their entire lives. What if you are the one responsible for this pattern? What if you keep attracting women who treat you like a character because you've never done the work of becoming an actual person? You want to blame women. You want to call them manipulative, shallow, deceptive. And sure, some of them are. But Jung would grab you by the shoulders and say, "Why did you let yourself be chosen by that woman in the first place? Why did you volunteer to be her puppet? Why did you hand her the strings and then complain when she pulled them?" The truth, the brutal, uncomfortable truth, is that the man who refuses to face his own inner feminine, his own emotions, his own vulnerabilities, his own depth, is destined to be enslaved by hers. You're not a victim, you're a volunteer. You chose this. You chose to play the role because facing your own emptiness, your own incompleteness, your own fear of standing alone was far more terrifying than pretending to be someone else. And now you're angry at her for not seeing the real you. But the real you doesn't exist yet. You haven't built him. You've been too busy performing. And this is where most of you will close this video. Because this is where the comfort ends and the responsibility begins. Jung didn't offer you 3 easy steps to alpha male greatness. He didn't give you a quick fix or a magic formula. He gave you a lifelong task of self-confrontation, of sitting in the silence of your own mind until the lies start to crack, until the voice that says you need her to feel like a man begins to die. And that voice will fight for its life. It will scream that you're nothing without her approval, that no man can live without feminine validation, that you're being cold and heartless for even questioning it.
But Jung's work whispers something more dangerous to that voice. It whispers that the man who can stand alone, without her approval, without her validation, without needing to be needed, is the man who is finally free. Free from projection, free from performance, free from the prison of living as someone else's fantasy. And when you reach that place, you don't become cold. You don't become bitter. You become real, fully alive in your own skin, rooted in your own truth, grounded in your own being. And that is when, paradoxically, women feel most drawn to you. Not because you need them, but because you don't. All right, serious moment here. If you've made it this far in the video, you're clearly someone who's not afraid of uncomfortable truths. That deserves a subscribe. Hit that button. Join the tribe of men who are choosing themselves. And if you found value in this, share it with another guy who needs to hear it. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is tell someone the truth they've been avoiding.
And here's what happens when you truly individuate, when you truly become whole within yourself. People get uncomfortable around you. Can't quite put their finger on why, but something about your presence unsettles them. You no longer fit into the neat little boxes they use to categorize men. You're not the nice guy. You're not the bad boy. You're not the provider. You're not the rebel. You're just you, fully integrated, fully awake, fully present. And that scares people because they can't manipulate what they can't categorize. They can't control what they can't predict. They can't dominate what they can't understand. Jung warned that the individuated man is not welcomed by society. He's feared, misunderstood, often labeled as arrogant or emotionally unavailable. But the truth is far more threatening to the people around him. He's simply become unbribable, unmanipulable, untouchable. Not because he's built walls, but because he's removed the strings. There's nothing to pull, no buttons to push, no levers to control him with. He sees through the game. And when you see through the game, you stop playing it.
And this is when something truly bizarre happens. The very people who once begged for your attention, your time, your validation, they start to resent you for not needing theirs. Women, especially those still possessed by their immature animus, will accuse you of being too analytical, too much in your head, too distant. But what they really mean is that they can no longer cast you in their movie. You've stopped reading from their script. You've walked off their stage. And without that script, without that stage, they don't know what to do with you, because you've stopped being a character and started being a man. Jung once observed with a hint of dark humor that the gods have become diseases, that what ancient cultures called divine possession, modern psychology calls neurosis. And make no mistake, men who chase validation are among the most spiritually diseased. You think you're being romantic when you say, "I'd do anything for her," or "she's my everything." But Jung would shake his head and tell you that what you call love is actually a refusal to carry your own soul. It's easier to project it onto her, to make her the carrier of your meaning, your purpose, your hope. Because if she's carrying it, you don't have to. You get to avoid the terrifying responsibility of holding yourself. But here's the brutal twist that nobody talks about. When she realizes she was never designed to carry your soul, she will drop it. She must drop it. Because no woman, no matter how loving, how patient, how devoted, can hold the weight of a man who refuses to hold himself. And when she drops it, when that moment comes, you'll feel betrayed. You'll feel abandoned. You'll feel like she broke a promise. But you shouldn't feel any of those things. You should thank her. Because in that moment, when the illusion finally shatters, you stand face to face with the truth you've been running from your entire life. The work of becoming a man was never hers to do. It was always yours. And in that raw, naked moment of clarity, you have two choices. You can take the easy road. You can blame her. You can become bitter. You can join the angry mob of men pointing fingers at women, calling them names, swearing them off, pretending that the problem was always external. That's the path of the coward, the path of the man who would rather die blaming the world than live facing himself. Or you can take the road Jung would have demanded you take. You can turn inward. You can start the lonely, terrifying, liberating work of individuation, of becoming whole without needing someone else to complete you.
Because here's the secret Jung spent his life trying to tell you. The woman you're searching for out there, the one who'll finally understand you, finally accept you, finally complete you, she's not out there. She's a reflection of the part of yourself you've abandoned, the feminine within you that you've rejected, suppressed, denied. Until you face that part, until you integrate it, every relationship you ever have will be a transaction. Every connection will be a performance. Every love will be a lie dressed up in romantic language. But when you do face it, when you finally integrate your own inner feminine, your own emotions, your own depth, your own vulnerability, something miraculous happens. You stop chasing women. You don't run after them anymore. You don't manipulate them. You don't perform for them. You don't need them to validate your existence. You just stand there, fully rooted in who you are. And from that place of rootedness, something changes in the air around you.
Quick pause, because I need you to do something. If this message is resonating with you, if you feel like this is the wake-up call you needed, take 5 seconds and subscribe to this channel. We're creating content that actually matters, that actually transforms lives. Don't let this be another video you watch and forget. Make a choice right now to invest in your own growth. I'll wait. You no longer attract women who want a character to mold. You no longer attract women who are looking for a savior, a project, a fantasy to project onto. You start attracting a different kind of woman entirely, the kind who has done her own work, the kind who has faced her own shadow, the kind who has integrated her own animus. And you'll know her when you meet her, because the energy will be completely different. She won't flood you with grand romantic declarations. She won't treat you like the missing piece of her puzzle. She won't try to change you into something more convenient.
She'll stand before you, raw and real, not as a goddess demanding worship, but as a human being who's walked through her own fire. She won't need you to perform because she's not looking for a performance. She won't need you to save her because she's already saved herself. She won't need you to complete her because she's already whole. And in that meeting, there's no desperation, there's no clinging, there's no game. There's only truth meeting truth. Two people who have done the work, standing together not out of need, but out of choice. Jung taught that this kind of love is the rarest and most dangerous kind. Dangerous because it demands nothing but offers everything. It's not born of need or lack or fear. It's born of freedom, the freedom to choose, the freedom to walk away, the freedom to stand together without illusions, without masks, without the prison of projection. But let me warn you about something Jung knew all too well. Most of you will never experience this because most of you will quit before you get there. You'll settle for the performance because the performance is familiar. You'll settle for the fantasy because the fantasy is comfortable. You'll settle for the temporary thrill of being seen as someone you're not because facing who you truly are still feels unbearable.
But if you have the courage, the brutal, gut-wrenching courage to keep walking, to keep standing alone, to keep stripping away every false ladder you've built to earn approval, you will eventually find yourself standing at the edge of something terrifyingly beautiful. You will find yourself, not the version of yourself you perform for others, not the version you think you should be, but the raw, real, imperfect, powerful truth of who you actually are beneath all the masks. And when you find that, when you finally meet yourself, women will no longer be the source of your identity. They will no longer be the mirror you use to feel like a man. They will become something else entirely. Partners, not prizes. Mirrors, not mothers. Allies, not saviors. And you will love them not because you need them, but because you choose to, from a place of strength, from a place of wholeness, from a place that knows, without apology or hesitation, exactly who you are. Carl Jung didn't leave you a map to follow. He left you a warning that every man who refuses to confront himself will become a slave to the projections of others, especially the projections of women. But he also left you a challenge to walk the path of individuation, to stop blaming women for the roles you volunteered to play, to stop seeking wholeness in someone else's eyes, to stop waiting to be chosen.
Because the man who chooses himself fully, unapologetically, relentlessly, is the man who cannot be controlled by fantasy. He cannot be seduced by performance. He cannot be reduced to a character in someone else's script. He becomes the author of his own life, the director of his own movie, the architect of his own reality. And that man, that rare man who has walked through the fire of his own psyche and emerged whole on the other side, he is the man who changes everything, not just for himself, but for everyone around him, because he becomes a living example that freedom is possible, that wholeness is possible, that you don't have to spend your life pretending to be someone you're not just to feel loved. And if you've made it this far, if you felt this message hit somewhere deep inside your chest, don't just scroll away. Don't let this be another piece of content you consume and forget. Take a moment right now, hit that like button, share this video with another man who's still living in the illusion, still waiting to be set free. Subscribe to this channel so you don't miss the next truth bomb we drop. Your support isn't just for us, it's for the next guy who needs to hear this. Help us spread this message. Help us wake up the world, one man at a time.
Jung's final words to you aren't comforting. They're not meant to be. They're meant to shake you awake. They're meant to shatter the comfortable lies you've been living by. They're meant to force you to look in the mirror and ask the question you've been avoiding your entire life. Who am I when nobody's watching? Who am I when I'm not performing? Who am I when I stop being what everyone else needs me to be? Answer that question. Live that answer. Become that answer. And everything changes.